wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, and FS1, brought to you by DraftKings. Playing the biggest contest in daily fantasy NASCAR history, your share of $750,000 in prizes with DraftKings. Joy Taylor is joining me, and we have Lennox Lewis in 40 minutes. Can't wait for that. Knocked Mike Tyson out, 8th round, straight right hand. Pow!
Do you ever consider boxing?
No. I used to be a boxing announcer for, I did some stuff with HBO that was international, on their international feed. I love calling boxing. Jim Lampley's the best that ever did it, and I was basically doing a bad Jim Lampley impersonation when I did it. And also Jason McIntyre, Greg Jennings, Brian Scalabrine in 15 minutes. Sometimes you have to take an L. You know, one of the reasons I stopped taking phone calls as a host, because callers didn't have any interest in getting it right. They just wanted to be right. And you're just arguing over dumb stuff. In my 20s, 30s, I was the same way. I just wanted to be right. And after a while, you're like, I want to get it right. So there's no use to arguing with people who have no interest in being honest and getting it right. If I give you data, I'm right. If you give me data, you're right. Let's be honest about this. Okay? We've seen this in history. A lot of people thought, the world is flat. For a long time, people thought the world is flat. And then Aristotle broke the news on Twitter, the world is round. Yeah, like Aristotle, smarter than all of us, said the world is round on Twitter. And then, by the way, Christopher Columbus retweeted it. Magellan liked it. And breaking news, Woj confirmed it. So the world is not flat, it's round. Take an L if you think the world is flat. Got retweets from Magellan, Galileo, Aristotle, Woj. Okay, the world is round. Parents do this all the time. Hey, my kid's a great athlete. And at some point, you're like 14, 15. No, he's not. He's just a great kid. He's not a great athlete. Just take the L. It's actually a W. You got a great kid. You don't have a great athlete. It's okay. Boston Celtic fans, take an L. Kyrie Irving's not a great fit with Brad Stevens, and they're not firing Brad Stevens. He's not a great fit. He's injury-prone. He's kind of a me guy, and it's a we system. I'm not sure he fits the city, but he doesn't fit the team. Here's the stats. They're all right there for you. When Kyrie Irving doesn't play, they win more, they score more, they shoot better, they pass more, and they hit more threes. The data's in. Take an L. It'll make you better. I'm not saying Kyrie Irving, 2 minutes to go in the game, he's a special guy. But you got to win in this league. You got to get to the last 2 minutes of games for him to hit the shot. They're not as good with him. And I think you have a coach, Brad Stevens, who worked at Butler and works on spacing and passing and ball movement. And I don't think that's Kyrie's game. And you can keep arguing. You go ahead. Go to your message boards. But I said from day one, leave LeBron James at your own peril. And Kyrie Irving was hurt at Duke before LeBron and hurt and kind of a bust in Cleveland before LeBron and wasn't winning games. And then he got LeBron and won titles. And then he's too cool. And the world is flat. And didn't listen to Aristotle and Magellan and Galileo and Christopher Columbus and Woj. And the world's not flat and it's round. And by the way, you're not a leader. You're just a great basketball talent. And not all great basketball talents make teams better. Kobe, Carmelo are examples of that. Sometimes they did. Sometimes they didn't. I don't think he fits the system. The data is in. They're better without him. Speaking of arguments, people think I hate Russell Westbrook. No, he wears me out. I have said many times he's a great talent, but I don't think he's necessarily a winning basketball player, although this year, shooting less, winning more, maybe he's changed. But one of the things athletes say, and this, again, is wanting to be right more than get it right. Athletes say they don't listen to the show. Oh, they hear the show. They go to shoot around, they go back to their room, and they just sit and watch TV and wait to go to the arena and take naps, have lunch. What do you think they do? Watching Jeopardy? Soap operas? Oh, they don't have those. By and large, they watch shows that talk about them, just like you would watch shows that talked about you. If there was a show right now in America, 8 of them, that talked about you, you'd never turn them on, really? You get offended when somebody on Twitter says something to you. You're on Twitter all day. You wouldn't watch a TV show talking about you? So yesterday, people were asking Russell Westbrook about all the criticism he gets and, his shot is broken and blah, blah, blah. And here was his response.
I've been blessed with the talent to not to give a he say, she say, what somebody say about me, what they say about shooting, passing, dribbling. I don't really care. Every year is something. They got to make up something about me, which is fine. It's good. One thing I always know is if they're not talking about you, then you're not doing something right. I've been disengaged in that conversation since started playing basketball when I was 8. As you guys know, I don't change for nobody, for nothing. I do the same thing every night.
That's completely false. Your game has changed this year. You're shooting less this year. Your game has changed. You did listen. You listened to people for years say, you don't play winning basketball. And this year you changed. And by the way, your shot is totally broken. Why do you think it's broken? You think it's broken because you haven't changed or don't listen? It's broken because you heard people and it got into your head. Same thing with Markelle Fultz. It's psychological. It's mental. It's not physical. Just admit it. Stop trying to wear this body armor. And I don't listen to anybody. And I'm strong. And it reminds me of T.O., who 5 minutes later is breaking down and crying, or Dennis Rodman. If you're going to have this body armor and impenetrable and I'm not vulnerable, it's a con. You listen, you hear. If you don't watch, somebody else does. Somebody talks to you. I know because Westbrook's talked to people, and he has criticized me and says I'm too personal. Well, how does he know that? He doesn't listen, right? He didn't listen to nobody. Yes, he does. He's human, and he's vulnerable. And stuff gets in his head. And he wants to be liked. And he wants to win games. And that's okay. Just admit it. Take the L on that one. It's like Kyrie Irving. He's not perfect with the Celtics. Westbrook, you do listen. It does affect you. You want to be liked. Everybody does. Dogs want to be liked. When I run home every day, dog rushes up to me. Wants to be loved. Cats want to be loved. Dogs, people, everybody wants to be loved. Everything wants to be loved. Don't they say if you talk to plants, they grow faster? Plants want to be loved. Plants want to be discussed. Plants want to be plants sitting over in the corner the whole day. Hey, I'm over here. I'm a plant. You walk over to a plant, you talk to it. I'm not joking. They grow faster.
What an appropriate conversation for Valentine's Day.
That's a good call on that. Yeah, everybody wants to. It's okay, Russell. It's okay. You've been affected. You've heard it. You've listened.
You know, maybe he listened to, like one of the player development coaches for OKC or like a previous mentor or something.
Here's Paul George, my MVP, after a game the other night, talking about what people say about Russ, which, of course, he never hears.
We got to stop with the narrative about Russ not doing well, Russ not having a good night. He's doing everything, Russ is doing everything for this team. We just play hard. We rally behind Russ. Russ is a heck of a teammate, heck of a competitor. It's not going to be as nice sometimes offensively shooting the ball, but he does so much.
By the way, let me ask you this. If you're the MVP of a league and can't get out of the first round, would I be doing my job if I didn't raise questions? If LeBron James could not get out of the first round, wasn't everybody killing LeBron James for years because he couldn't get out of the second round? We're not doing our job if James Harden wins the MVP or Giannis and can't win 2 playoff series, Giannis is going to get heat. That's the name of the game. We're not doing our job. Nobody's being unfair to Russell Westbrook. I'm a little animated sometimes, but nobody's unfair. He's an MVP whose shot is broken, who is a terrible late game player, who can't get out of the first round, who's fighting with fans in Utah. That's not hypercritical. That's just observing what's happening and having an opinion.
This is my pushback with the MVP conversation in both the NFL and the NBA, though. It's a regular season award. So isn't it a little unfair to hold how a team does in the postseason against an MVP during a regular season?
If you are truly valuable and the most valuable player, you can't get whacked in the first round on a home series. All I'm saying is my argument, because I always argue during the season, not MVP, not MVP, not MVP. And then they lose in the first round, and I'm like, I told you, he's not that valuable. He's talented, he's not that valuable. If you're really, truly valuable and the most valuable person in a league, Patrick Mahomes, he got to the AFC Championship in overtime. He validated his value. He didn't have to get to a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes did not have to get. Patrick Mahomes got to the overtime against the reigning dynasty in the AFC Championship. That validated how valuable he is. If you can get to overtime against the Patriots, right. Steelers never get to overtime against them.
There was no shame in how.
But you can't get dusted in the first round of the NBA playoffs. And by the way, you can't get past the 5th game, and you're freaking out with Utah fans and tell me how valuable you are.
Maybe we should change the name of the award.
We could.
To best regular season performance award.
That's brilliant.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue like MVP, though.
It doesn't.
We can find something better.
That's the best Valentine's present at all. You gave us a new award. Say it again. What's it called?
Best regular season performance award. It's actually not that bad.
Okay, the
Best
BRS V. No, what did it say it again?
performance. Best
Yeah.
regular season performance. So
the bourgeois. The
I think we
bourgeois
gotta find
award.
something better for it. But I think that's really what it's become. It's kind of become that in the NFL too, because we have these conversations and they get to the postseason. It's like, oh, he didn't really deserve the MVP because they didn't win the Super Bowl or however things went for them in the playoffs.
All right, good stuff with Joy Taylor. Who to blame with the Lakers? I don't think it's Luke Walton. I don't think he's the best coach. I don't think he's not the one spreading the rumors, and he's not the one hurting LeBron's groin, and he didn't hurt Lonzo Ball. Brian Scalabrine and I will argue, and Scalabrine's going to have to admit the Kyrie Irving thing, they're